Hello, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bastien Forster. I'm the head of channel for Odoo, and I will be presenting this talk today with my colleague Luca, who is the head of MMC at Odoo. Later on, we will also have Laetitia and Matthias that will join us on stage for some interview with some partners as well. And this morning, we would like to discuss about the collaboration. And let me start maybe with a little story. 5 years ago, we decided at Odoo that after succeeding on the SMEs market, it was time to explore a new type of customer, which were the mid-market and corporate. And we decided to try it on our own because we've seen that for a lot of partners it was challenging, and so we decided to try on our own to see what was working. And after a few years of trials and errors, we are today very happy that it worked for us and that we are ready to go to the phase number 2, which is now to do projects with partners, to collaborate with partners on projects, and that's what we're going to present today.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So why have we created the MMC team? It's important to understand a little bit the strategy of Odoo. Okay. If you check in the past, okay, for Odoo it's more a bottom-up approach. So we have started really to target the SME market. Why we have started for the SME market? Because it's a market where there are not really ERP there. There is some study who has made that there is only 20% of the company who are using an ERP today. If you check the mid-market, it's more a transforming market because 84% of this company mid-market have already an ERP. Okay, so the objective for Odoo is to be, in the future, of course, a leader on the MMC segment. But of course, we are going to continue to work on the SME. So the goal is really to continue to grow with the SME and with the mid-market. And if we check a little bit the history, like Bastien said, we have created the team in July 2019, okay, firstly in Europe. And during the 2-3 first years, what we have done we call that the discovery phase. So during these 2-3 years, we have tried, we have made some error, for example, so we have replied to a lot of RFQ, we have met a lot of different customers to see what is missing, what we can improve in Odoo, okay? And during these 2-3 years, we have developed, for example, we have improved the product. We have improved, for example, certification for security. Today, Odoo is SOC 1 and SOC 2 compliance, for example. And after these 2-3 years of trial error, we have launched, we call that the expansion phase. So, of course, we have developed MMC team in different offices from Odoo. So we have now MMC team based in US, based in Mexico, based in Asia, and based also in Middle East. And maybe in the future, we are going to open in Africa and stuff like that. So that's really the objective. But also with the expansion phase, we have industrialized the process. So the way that we do the marketing with the people, the way that we are implementing the solution. And now, since January, we have started the partner collaboration with historical and strategic partner. And we'll explain you why and how we do that in a couple of minutes. But just to have a little bit some more context, to have some figures. Okay. Today, the BU MMC team, so the team based in Belgium, we have sold around more than 100 projects to our MMC project with an average of 190 users per contract. So you have a good view about the size of the project. We have sold around 90 ROI analysis. You will have a talk later. We explain, what is really the sales process and the implementation process for MMC customer. And on average, the average size of a project is around 250K. But during these 4 years, you can see that we have now different customers in different industry, in different country, with different scopes. So, for example, there is a kitchen reseller with Ego. We have a couple of projects with the European Commission and the Parliament Commission, for example, for marketing application. We are also present in the retail, for example, with Lucien, who has around, I think, 20 bike shop. We have really customers in different areas, or for example, in services company such as Bridgestone or Colruyt. For example, Bridgestone, it's a company with more than 4,000 users on Odoo.
Yes, and so to make the transition with the indirect world right now, We believe, first of all, that the MMC segment is a segment that is suited for partners. It's, as you know, important for Odoo that we keep our hat of the software editor, and so it means that we want 80% of our revenue to come from the license and 20% from the service. And we want to keep this balance. It means that we're going to still doing a few projects every year, projects on our own, but that we want mainly the MMC market to be a partner market. And it's important that the market is addressed by those partners, and to do that, we need to help our partners to address properly this market. And first of all, I think also that it's a very interesting market for the partners, and I would like here to list a few of the reasons why I believe it's a good market for you as a partner. First of all, is that it's an untapped market. So when we look at today the partner ecosystem that we have, most of our partners are SMEs targeting SMEs. And it's naturally, as Lucas said, we have a bottom-up approach. Odoo has so far been really targeting on the SMEs. But now we see that a few partners start to address also the MMC, but it's only really the beginning. And so right now I think there is a lot of space for partners joining us in our effort to conquer the MMC, because we know that in a few years the competition is going to be way more intense. We also see new type of partner joining in, more strategic partner with a larger size that immediately want to target the MMC. But right now we still see that the competition is not that strong. And of course, if you move now as a partner, you're going to have a lot of benefits. You're going to have a first mover advantage to have a competitive edge against other partners that are still targeting SMEs. Another important point, I think, that is as an Odoo partner, the retention of your employees is of course important. And I think today, if you ask to any employee in any company, what will make you stay in a company, it's your evolution. It's important that you don't do the same type of project this year and next year. And for that reason, I think that having two approach in a company as a partner, to have at the same time SMEs and MMC, could be a good evolution for the employees. You start implementing Odoo for SMEs, and once, after a couple of years, you can then naturally move to the MMC. MMC is also a very good partner a very good market for the partners because of the margins. We put here just to give you a quick example on Odoo Quick Start. So Quick Start is the small project that we do with small customer. We charge on average 670 euro for a project manager per day, where on the MMC, it's of course more experienced profile, but you can see that we can apply a rate that is quite higher with 1,250 on average. The last point, it's also, I think, an important one, is, you know, right now in April, you're going to need to sell 300 users if you want to be a gold partner. And this, we're going to keep on increasing these KPIs as the market is evolving, and it's going to get really difficult to get to the number of users you need to be gold. And I think it's easier to address the MMC to reach those amount of users. Just to give you an idea on what we do at Odoo. So as you know, we target the very small customer and the very big customer. And if we compare the amount of users brought by one salesperson, a salesperson working on the segment 1 to 5 employees, so the very small company, on average, they bring 20 new users per month. Where we look at the other side of the spectrum, the MMC, they bring on average 70 new users a month. So you see that for the same effort, we think that it's relatively easier to bring a lot of users on the MMC than on the SMEs. And so this is a little bit the challenge that we have. Odoo, we see that it's a good fit for the MMC. We see attraction, but still today, we don't see that in our partners. Where, as Luca presented, on the MMC on average, they sell 190 users per deal. Among our gold partners, it's still quite low. It's still only 20 users per project. So I'm not saying that we want all of our partners, all our gold partners to target the MMC segment. We are really happy to have gold partners doing very good SMEs. But our goal today is to handpick a few partners and to help those partners to transition from the SME to the MMC market. And we want to help them to build a successful new business unit on that segment.
So if you check a little bit also, you know, what are the challenges when, for example, you are used to work on the SME market and you want to go to the MMC market, of course, you have to change your methodology. So it will be important really to discuss about to have a dedicated methodology for the MMC market. The difficulty, of course, is to have the credibility. And as you know, also, Odoo is mainly a challenger on this market because today we are competing, you know, with Microsoft, SAP, and stuff like that. So, of course, that we have to increase the credibility of the Odoo product, but that will be also important to increase the credibility of your services. Okay. Also, it's a market where references are really important. And to start, sometimes it's complicated. When you don't have a specific, for example, reference in a specific industry or a specific sector, you will see when we collaborate together, we can help you to increase this credibility also. And it will be really important also to develop, an expertise as a partner in a specific sector, for example, because there is a lot of competition on that sector, and so you have to see, okay, what will be my added value, me as a partner on this project, and maybe it will be the good time also to develop, sometime some vertical to reply to industry needs.
And so the idea is to work together on projects and to be stronger together. And I think each party, Odoo and the partner, we all have our own strength, and I think we can learn from each other. If we look on the Odoo side, what we can bring to the table is, first of all, the functional knowledge of Odoo. It's still something that we work closely with the R&D, we work closely with the product owner. We know the capabilities of Odoo in standard right now, but we also have vision on the product roadmap, which is a good competitive advantage on those kind of very complex projects. The second thing is the methodology. As I said in the beginning, it's not new for us. We've been trying for a couple of years. We had a lot of trials and errors, and now we have a really proven methodology that we would like to share with you partners. The methodology comes with a lot of things, like we changed totally the way we do ROI, we changed the way we do implementation, we also changed the way we follow up with our client, with potential upsells and so on. But it's a methodology that is working quite well, and that, again, we would like to share with you. The last point is quite also important, is that we see with those type of customer, they appreciate having the editor involved in the relationship. They like to have also the financial stability. Like if a customer reach out to you and we discuss a project of a couple of millions, if then the customer realize that your company is maybe making a global revenue of 1 or 2 millions a year, it's going to be like, okay, but maybe it's a bit risky to work with a partner of that size. And then having the backup of Odoo is a good advantage for you. And one last point that is not here that we realize, it's also Odoo, we developed quite a good expertise in selling those projects. Like we have a very good trained sales team that is good at convincing the client, and I think that's really something that we can bring to the table as well. On the other side, we need you. We need you partners. And I think what we expect you to bring on those collaborations is, first of all, your expertise. Your expertise can be on a specific industry. Let's say that you are very good for retailers, for wholesalers, manufacturers, whatever. We need that industry expertise and that industry knowledge that you have. But it can also be beyond a specific industry. It can be regarding what we call specific needs. And for instance, we collaborate with a partner that is very good with any project with a lot of data. And that's always difficult in terms of performance, volumetry, and so on, what things do. And we have to be honest, that's not our strongest suit at Odoo. And so we need the expertise on the partner on those specific topics. The second thing is the local presence. That's still a very important in the ERP implementation world. We at Odoo open offices, but we'll never go as fast as our partners. And so that's why we also rely on you to go on site, to meet the customer, to speak the languages, to know the reality. And that local presence is something that is very important for us. And the last point is the workforce. As I said in the beginning, we want to keep at Odoo the ratio 80% of the revenue come from the license and only 20% from the services. So the idea is that we are not going to deliver the project, you are going to deliver the projects, and we need that workforce, whether it's functional or technical as well, but that's something that we expect from our partners.
If you check what we have done since the beginning of the collaboration, we have started collaboration in February. First of all, we have met around, I think, between 10 and 15 partners to understand better, okay, what are the strengths, what are the references that they have, to be able to identify, okay, we are going to work with this partner on this opportunity because we have more chance together to win this deal. So today we are working around over 50 opportunity. We have done 6 ROI analyses together. The small one, I think, is around 10 days. The biggest one is around 500 days, an ROI analysis that we are going to present you after. It is important to understand that every collaboration is specific. So there is not one way of doing the collaboration. Sometimes we do all the workshop, for example, together with one business analyst of Odoo and one business analyst of the partner. Sometimes we are just there to do some review. It depends Okay, and today we have signed two projects linked to this partner collaboration. It's important to understand that the sales cycle is pretty long when you go on the mid-market segment. Before maybe to sign an ROI analysis, it takes maybe between 6 and 9 months. The ROI analysis will take maybe between 1 and 6 months. So we will really see the result beginning of the year 2024. But of course, here it was just, I will say, a kind of proof of concept to test, to see what we can improve in the speech, how we can improve already the collaboration. So now the next objective is to really increase this number of collaboration in 2024. So how we should collaborate. To understand a little bit more, the mindset, we have this graph. We represent, the implication of the partner and the services of Odoo during the different phase of the project. Okay. Like Bastien said, I think Odoo has really a strong team in terms of sales, or how we can reply, for example, to an RFQ, how we can present the value proposition of Odoo. And so the goal, if you identify, for example, a project which is interesting, the goal is to start the collaboration as soon as possible. So it's to start to do, for example, the qualification together, to do the demonstration together, to do a way of working. We'll explain you that in the next talk. Sorry. And after is to do an ROI analysis together. So you will see that the involvement of the two parties is pretty the same at the beginning. Okay. But of course, when we start the implementation, it is the responsibility of the partner for the implementation. It's the partner who are going to invoice maybe 90% of the revenue for the services. And sometimes Odoo can come to bring, for example, some expertise in an area that maybe you are not yet an expert. Sometimes we can do, for example, some review of the code, or we can also reassure the customer to be sure that we have taken together the right decision on the way that we can implement this project. And of course, for the support, that is also your responsibility, but we can be involved if necessary. So that's really the mindset that we have for that part.
And so now a few guidelines to know on what type of projects we want to collaborate and under which conditions. But the first one is the large user base. So what does it mean? It means that depending on the complexity of the project, we want to guarantee that there is a mass amount of users. And the more complex the project is, of course, the more users we want to get behind. The second thing is about the commissions. And it's just to give you the reality is that you're going to work on a different way on those deals. Usually as a partner, you work with your dedicated partner manager, but in here, on top of having a dedicated partner manager, you will also have someone from Lucas' team, someone from the mid-market and corporate team, that's going to help you and train you on how to approach those deals. And so what to do, we double the cost of acquisition on those leads, and so we have to compensate that on the partner's commission. And so what we decided to do is to divide it by 2, the usual commissions that you get as a partner. So to make it clear, usually it's the gold partner that we collaborate with, and instead of getting 20% on the license, you get 10% on the license, but only on the first 12 months. At the renewal of the contract, you get back to the usual commissions of 20% as gold partner. A third condition is the ROI analysis. So the ROI is the return on investment. It's the pre-sales analysis that we do on all of our projects. It's an intensive analysis that usually takes something around 50 days. But this is for us a must-do before those type of projects. And we will not start a collaboration if the customer is not willing to do that paid ROI analysis before. Last point, it's the fixed price projects, but that's I think as you. We don't like those projects, and so we are quite categoric on that. We will not do any fixed price projects. And the last item, sorry, is that we will enforce the paid recurring maintenance. We believe it's the good practice. It's part of the MMC methodology we put in place, and so it's going to be the same on the collaboration. Don't worry, we're going to pitch it for you. Ideally, we're going to apply the 16 euro per 100 lines of code that we use at Odoo, but we are open to discuss if you have other alternatives. But we always want to have a paid maintenance and to have it recurring before the go live. So what are the next steps? If you're interested into that, is to simply come to us, to Luca or to I, or to your dedicated partner manager that can help you to discuss how we can put in place such a collaboration. It can be on a deal that you bring or on a lead that we have, but it's important that we start to get to know each other, and it's important to start the discussion even if you don't have a project right now, but if you think it's a good idea, come to us to discuss.
And it's important also to understand that we have divided the market in three types of projects. We are small, mid, big MMC. Okay, so for example, a small MMC is a project below 250k, a mid is between 250k and 700k, and big is over 700k. It's important that, for example, if today, for example, you don't have really a lot of experience on the mid, don't go directly for a big one. The goal is really to work together, first of all, on, okay, I will be trained to sell to small, after I will be trained to sell to mid, before to go really to the big one. And it's like that you will be able also to improve your credibility on that kind of deal.
The next part of this talk is now to have something a little bit more, let's say, interactive, because we are quite happy that we already have a few collaboration in place. It's nothing new, and we would like to invite today on stage two amazing partners. One is Camptocamp, and the other one is Eezzee IT, on which we're collaborating on very interesting projects. And Laetitia and Mattia will interview them to have also their feedback about the collaboration. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good morning, and thank you for being here again. My name is Laetitia Bastos and I'm a key partner manager at Odoo. So the goal of the second part of the presentation, as Bastien mentioned, is to present to you today two different partners with who we are currently collaborating as well as the two projects on which we are working together. So why you are doing this talk together? Because at first, the collaboration starts internally. So on the partner management side, so channel side, we know all the partners, right? We know their verticals, their capacity of resources, their strategies regarding development, how they work, their references, their expertise, and so on. So when they arrive with a project, a complex project, and we identify that they are lacking something for that project, it could be a reference on expertise, so we propose them to collaborate with MMC. And the other way around is also possible, but I will let then Mattia explain better.
So hi everyone, so as Lisa mentioned, so my name is Mattia. I'm working in the MMC department in Odoo. So in our MMC department, as you understand, we have a double role to play. So we are the editor, but can also play the role of integrator. So what does it mean? It means that we are as a key account manager, the first contact to the customer. So it means that we really help the customer in that discovery journey with Odoo. So it means that we are doing the first demonstration. So after understanding the needs, what is the pain point, we do very customized demonstration. After that, we go with them in the error analysis, as explained before, and then we also continue about the contract signature and implementation, etc., etc. So that's really our role. But we understand, and there is also a very big interest for some of the projects to have a complementary approach versus what we bring as an integrator in Odoo, but also what the partner can do. And so this is what we'll explain today, and that's also what we will show as a concrete example. So first I will introduce Camptocamp, which is one of the historic partners that we have. It's a gold partner, as you can see here. So Camptocamp is a partner since 2009, so they're based in Switzerland, but also in France and in Germany. So it's a very interesting team with more than 60% dedicated only for Odoo. So they already implement more than 115 projects. So what is their scope of expertise? So they're very good for all what is warehousing, all about logistics, but also e-commerce. And then you can see some of the reference that they have in the food industry, but also in the medtech, in the retail, and in the new tech industry.
So I'm going to present to you Eezzee IT. Is also an historical gold partner of Odoo. They've been a partner since 2010. They are present in Belgium, in Wallonia and Flanders as well, Tunisia and Morocco. They have 50 people working just in Odoo today. They have up and running 100 projects right now, and they have more than 1,200 users with the Odoo project, of course. Their scope of expertise is omnichannel projects. and e-commerce with integrations with third-party systems, and logistics and supply chain. And they are present in the industries of retail, digital marketing services, and consulting. And as you can see, we have many different references, important names here in Belgium and also around the world. So, as we said before, just to remind why we present Eezzee IT and Camptocamp today and not other partners with who we are collaborating as well. Because these two companies, first of all, they are historical partners, of course, but they bring an added value to Odoo as well. And secondly, because in these two projects that we're going to present today, we really worked together. Our team, so the Odoo team and the partners team, they were collaborating hands to hands to make the project work. So I'm going to present Dreambaby, is the project that we did with, we are doing with Eezzee IT. And the Dreambaby is a very known name in Belgium because they belong to Colruyt group. But for those that are not Belgium, is a baby store, baby supply store retailer. They have more than 27 shops in Belgium and one web store as well. And the main focus of the project is the e-commerce, sales, inventory, POS, and accounting. It's a project that will have in the end 300 users. The ROI analysis was quite quickly, actually, for this kind of project. We sold 20 days, but the implementation will take 6 months. And we sold 250 days of services to make the project work.
All right, so here I will present the project that we're working on with Camptocamp. So the name is Stop Ayme. So Stop Ayme is a subsidiary of Bridgestone. I think everyone knows Bridgestone here. It's a major tire retailer. So here we focus first on the French market. So they have more than 140 shops. It's mainly B2B business, some of B2C also. So here it was a very huge project. You can see the scope is very wide. We did also a very extended ROI analysis, so a discovery phase with them. You can see there's more than 400 days that we worked together. So there was really a collaboration between Odoo business analyst, but also Camptocamp business analyst. That was very, very interesting. And then we now plan to have more than 14 months for the first phase. And we are here targeting about 800 users. That's really the first phase. And then we plan to have an extension, maybe also outside of France. So here now we invite on the scene our partners so we can do this interview. So while they're joining.
So we are presenting today Émeric Passinet from Camptocamp, is a business analyst. Mathieu Tens from Odoo is also a business analyst. And Grégoire Monnoyer is a functional architect from Eezzee IT. So now we're going to ask them some questions to present the collaboration and the projects.
So hi everyone. So thank you for being here. It's really a pleasure to have you here on scene to really share what is our experience that we had together. So maybe just to start, that's really the beginning. Let's explain a little bit why you decide to come to us and why we start this collaboration together. So maybe Émeric, you can start with the explanation.
Yes, so as you've seen, First Stop is a really, really huge project. So we needed a lot of resources to be able to do a correct ROI analysis. And the second point is we wanted to start with V17 version, So that's why we wanted to have Odoo in the loop to be able to have some insight from the next version and to have the Odoo MMC on board because you have the habits of this type of clients, so it was a good opportunity to share on it.
And I think also the customer has to be challenged not to develop too much, but really stick on the standard, and maybe this is what we could bring also.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your methodology, but of course, having the editor there, it helps also for the customers.
Exactly. The thing is, with the expertise of Camptocamp and the expertise of Odoo MMC, it was a good way to be closer to the standard for this kind of companies. It could be quite difficult, but at the end, we can see it's totally possible now.
And Grégoire, do you believe that is the same for you? What are the reasons that you decide to collaborate on this project?
Yeah, it's a little bit the same, but also the fact that the customer here in our case for Dreambaby, they were on SAP, so they come from something very big, and they made the choice to move to something else. So it's also something new for them. So one of the points which was important for them was to have this credibility. So I believe we heard it before with the presentation. The credibility is important for the customer. So they wanted to also have Odoo at our site. And as you just said, Emeric, it's really nice because we can share. We have some expertise from Odoo. We have our expertise, and we can use both of them. And that is really important for the customer, I guess. And that's make also the final call and final decision, because as we know, kind of process like that takes time before we go to the project. So we have the ROI, we have the RFQ, and all this sales project is really long, and they have to be convinced before they sign, actually.
Okay, so could you give us then a concrete example about what you learned regarding implementation methodology, because they are quite similar, right? So maybe we could say in the beginning, I'm not going to learn nothing because we do more or less the same, but so give us an example, please, about what you learned.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a little bit of apprehension when it's the first time you have to do something with Odoo, because you have your way of working, we have our way of working, and we have to join our forces to give the best to the customer. So that's the main objective, of course. So in the beginning, we didn't know precisely how it was going to go, and actually it went pretty smooth. And we could observe that we had actually a very close methodology. So that was already very good. So we had to fine-tune, of course, little things. But I strongly believe that after some projects, we will have like kind of a very smooth and nice methodology. From what we also learned a little bit from your team, and we try to take this as a takeaway for the next implementation that we will do, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, Emeric, here I think the situation that we had between Camptocamp and Odoo for Stop Ayme was a bit different. I think, okay, you had a similar methodology, Eezzee and us, that was good. But I think you have also, because of your long history in developing and implementing Odoo, you have your own way to do. And I think maybe you can explain a bit the difference we had and what was your strategy to do.
Yeah, exactly. The main difference with Eezzee IT and the presentation is we decided to keep Camptocamp methodology, because as you said, it's like almost 14 years we are working with Odoo, and as we are gold partner. So we are already a strong methodology in place, and we really wanted to keep it. Why? For two main reasons. First was because we were responsible of the contract, and we were responsible of the project, so we wanted to be all the time the manager of this project. And the second point is we really wanted to improve our methodology by confronting it to Odoo MMC approach instead of using another methodology. Mm-hmm. So it was really a way to have a continuous improvement in it.
Yeah. Okay, and then maybe to have a Odoo approach. So Mathieu, can you maybe a bit explain what was the difference between our common methodology that we use in Odoo and what Camptocamp did?
Like Emeric said, we use the Camptocamp methodology. For us, it's a bit new to do that. We love our methodology. We constantly improve it. So when I had to step in this project, I was like, okay, it's interesting, but I'm not sure about this. Mm-hmm. But in the end, regarding their methodology, it's quite the same for us as us in terms of the global picture. At the end, we do exactly the same job and we have the same objective. So regarding that, the methodology is exactly the same. So we will really be there to understand the business needs of our customer and to try to find the best solution to answer it. So we will organize some workshop to really know how the customer will work and what are their current flow. What was a bit different, according to me, was how to show the solution to our partner, how to project the next possible solution of Odoo. And there, Camptocamp has a total other approach of us. They will use a conception page if I'm not mistaken, where we will have a flow. We will split all the business needs that we encounter during the analysis. And then we will, on this page, show the customer how we can answer their need in standard, with customization, with Odoo Community Association modules, or even with development. On Odoo methodology, we are more like, we do those as-is workshops, so to analyze how the customer is really working. But we also have extra workshops that we call to-be workshop, where we really want the customer to project themselves in Odoo. So we will take an Odoo database and show them how tomorrow they can work with Odoo. If we have to do some development, of course, we will not do development in this database, but just try that the customer can imagine how the solution can be. And at the end, for this project, it was really two different approaches, and we managed to find a middle ground where we had conception page to show the end possible solutions. And we also made some videos, the to-be videos for the final customer, so they can project themselves in the tool.
All right,
so it
thank
was
you.
really interesting for both
Yeah,
sides.
thank you. So I understand it's important that you have a good conception of the solution, but also the customer will like really to see in Odoo how does it works, really to be convinced about the solution and what will be implemented. So here it seems that okay, everything went fine, all was good, so we are continuing the project together, going to the implementation, but probably there were some difficulties also in the project. So maybe can you explain a bit the difficulties and how we could encounter these difficulties, Grégoire?
Yeah, I mean, every project is a challenge, so there are always like difficulties when we always aim to try to stay in the standard of Odoo. That's the basic. I mean, we have to start with that. So, and the difficulty is more about the difficulty like working together,
Yeah.
or working together. So, in the fact of working together. I think that there were some aspects we could improve. So from our side, as a partner, we have more experience with integrations and with external sources and like bringing the customer to the next step with the framework of Odoo. So of course we will stay with the standard, and that's one of the aspects I think is that we could bring as a partner to go a little bit further than to always say we have a workaround. We could say, okay, we have perhaps a solution, and there perhaps we come to the functional page, to the fact that we are more working with wireframes to say, okay, this is how we are going to be able to do that. So, but basically, yeah, it went well. So
Yeah.
But
That's good.
also, just we had a small difficulty as well during the project, because you guys from Eezzee IT, you work on Odoo, on the project 2 of Odoo, and our team, they were not doing the project in the same way. So how we came
Right.
to solve the problem?
right, so the way we would handle the project was not the same by your side and by our side. We had to take a decision. Here I joined a little bit Camptocamp, so because we were the one that are going to continue the project, we asked your team to come to our systems and to deal with everything which is project management, time sheeting, following of the project, description of the task. So we invited your teams to come into our system, and there we had a little learning that we had to share with your team. So it was in the beginning some work that has to be done to be sure that we could continue on a very standard base and a good base. But now it's not a
Everything's
problem
going
anymore.
So another point also I think that we face discussing with the customers is that we have a multi-party collaboration, and so communication was important and not always easy. First to align, okay, who is doing what, the partner, what the customer is expecting, what Odoo is bringing in the loop. So maybe you can maybe explain, Aymeric, a bit how was it?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, this project was very huge, and we were 4 parties in this project, because there were Odoo MMC, Camptocamp, the client, and EY as AMOA. I don't know how to say it in English, I'm sorry. Like to say to do the link between the client needs and what we are able to do as integrator. And yeah, it was really difficult to align and to keep the client in the good direction, I would say, and for him to know who is the actor, the major actor in the work. And as you said, we don't have always the same approach with Odoo, but we find some good way to do it by mixing the team of having someone from Camptocamp with someone from Odoo MMC to be able to work together and to share the different methodology.
Yeah, and I think also one of the feedback we receive from the customer is at the end, okay, some difficulties at the beginning, but at the end they really feel that we work as one team. So there was not Camptocamp, there was not Odoo, it was really the team representing Odoo and that will implement the solution. So maybe Mathieu, do you want to add about your experience, about difficulties that you encountered here?
Yeah, but like you said, the goal was to work like one team, even if we are two different companies in front of the customer, in front of EY, we are sending all the project management support. We had to work together and to be one voice. Of course, we had to adapt ourselves to that, but it was great, according to me. So, yeah, it was a difficulty, but it was more for me a challenge that can push us out of our comfort zone to be better in front of the customer. What I feel that was also a difficulty for me, at least on Odoo's side, was like we said, we use the Camptocamp methodology, but new methodology often means new tools to use during an implementation. So you were using Odoo, we are using Odoo, Camptocamp doesn't for the project management. So I had to also to adapt myself. We had to adapt myself. I wasn't the only consultant on the Odoo side on the project. Big up Louis. And yeah, we had to find the best way to use those tools and to have maybe a small time of adjustment. One thing that we didn't speak about yet is more the... So we have different approach. Like you said, I think it's clear for either Odoo or partners that the first goal of answering a business need is to try to find a solution in standard. We agree on that, but then what comes next can be different. At Odoo, what we will do, it's like, okay, we know that the standard is not enough to solve this issue, to answer the need. Then we will see if we cannot find a workaround. Again, all in standard. If it's not possible, we will see if we can do a small customization or small development or a larger development to answer that. On the partner side, I have another tool that we are not used to check, at least, is all the community modules, the community apps that you have at your disposal, and that we will not check because they are not made by Odoo. And there, often when we face challenge, but for a project like that, it happens a lot, like one time or two on 3 items, so we had to challenge ourselves a lot. And I always come with an idea of development of this solution when Emric told me, Mathieu, don't worry, we have an OCA module that can do that. And at the end, I just have to trust him because I don't know this module. So it was kind of hard for me to let that go and say, okay, you know what you are doing, you know that you develop those modules and you can trust those modules, but I don't have this vision. So sometimes you just show me how the module works and it was great and I can learn about that. But sometimes I was just like working in the dark and say, okay, let me maybe find another solution in case of this module will not work.
Thank you, Mathieu. So we discussed about what you've learned, both on the Odoo side and partner side. And for the customer, there is any benefit for them having us working together? Maybe Emric?
Yes, as I said during the first question, the idea was to start with the latest version of Odoo. So to work with Odoo and was a good way to have some insight from the V17 and even to push some new feature in this version, like FSA, First Stop, wanted to have WhatsApp integration or the analytic accounting with amount instead of percentage. And that was something we wanted really to have it in the V17, so we were like trying to push Mathieu to go to the product owner to say, okay, you need to push this feature. And finally, when we see the V17, we can see that a lot of features we wanted are now available in standard.
Okay.
So that's a really good thing.
And there is also the possibility that something happened. I mean, something goes wrong during the project. What happens then?
Yeah, of course, we can fail on the project. Something can happen to Camptocamp. And for this kind of project, this kind of client is really important to have a backup. And what else than the Odoo MMC department able to do the takeover in case of problem? So that's something that was really important for the client to be sure that Odoo is aware a bit about the project just in case of.
Okay. Maybe Grégoire?
Yeah, I also join the different points that you just mentioned, Emeric. Perhaps to also add to that, I think, yeah, of course, the expertise. We have access to the people which have a lot of expertise, which have already done lots of different things at the side of Odoo. So that's always interesting to challenge with what we know, with the experience that we have. So that's a first point. But the second point is, for example, here for Dreambaby, we had to go very fast. That's why we had also a very short time for the ROI analysis. Normally, such ROI analyses are longer, but here they had a really hard deadline to leave SAP at the end of this year. So for that reason, a good point was that we could also join our forces with Odoo. And how did we do that? We actually share the expertise. So we know that Odoo is investing lots of expertise in a website, and therefore we as a team of Odoo to take care of the website part, while we were taking care of the integration and the backend side with SAP and such on. And so that way we could really separate the project and have an approach together that could help us to win time and to be more efficient in reaching the deadline. So at the end, it's always the same, getting to the best solution for the customer.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We see that they like to share their experience, but time is running, so you talk a lot. So if you want to have more information, then it's to come back to them and to us at the end. But so maybe let's go to the next. What is the next step for those projects? Where we are now, and maybe just explain shortly what we are. What's the next step really?
Yep.
So maybe I will start.
Yeah, please.
So for Stop, we finished the analysis. It was 8 months of work, 3 workshops a week. Was quite intense, and now we are in negotiation phase to start. And normally that will start in a couple of weeks for a first phase of 18 months. So it's quite a long-term project, but we are ready for it.
All right, good. And about Dreambaby?
Yes, so I mentioned it just before. We are going to have a go live very soon. So we are really in the phase of finishing the developments and starting the testing phase with the customer. So till now, everything is going well. So that's really great. So we are happy with that. But we will see soon.
Thank you. So just to be sure, even though it's not always easy to collaborate, do you do it again? Yes or no? And why? Just very quickly.
I'll let you start.
Yeah. No, of course. I think we are. If we want to work with those kind of customers which are bigger, which need this kind of insurance, we need to work with MMC. That's just the credibility and also I think if we continue like that, we continue to exchange between the methodology, and we try to align to offer the best service. So of course I would sign right away.
And Emeric?
Yeah, I share the same point of view, and I will say that even if we don't have the occasion, I would say like in 3 years maybe to have again a project all together, to share the methodology, to share what we learned during these 3 years could be a very good opportunity too.
Thank you guys for being here with us today. Stay here so we can help us to answer the questions later. So if you could summarize what we discussed today and with some takeaways, I would say that one important reason to collaborate is that we can avoid unnecessary developments. Why? Because we're going to confront 2 different implementation methodologies, and when we, from Odoo side, we're going to find and work around and trying to stay close to the standard of the solution. On the partner side, we're going to think out of the box to solve the problem and maybe doing some developments. And when we confront these 2 different strategies, we can take out the best one for the customer. And I think it's the goal of everyone here. Another important reason to collaborate, if I understood well, is that Odoo, of course, can take over the project if the partner fails during implementation. And in some cases, as we saw here today, it can be very reassuring for the client, right? So which kind of partners we are looking for to work together? As we saw today, good partners, meaning not just historical partners, not just partners that has been partners for more than 10 years, but established partners with a solid background and partners that can bring an added value to Odoo. And which kind of projects then we are looking for to work together? Where this project, we work together when we together bring something that is necessary to the client, right? It's not just to collaborate, but to bring an added value for the client as well. Would you say something different?
Yeah, maybe just to conclude, two final takeaways you can have. Of course, for our customers, when they need to select their future tool, here we speak about bigger, larger account customers, so it's not an investment just for a few months, it's really for several years. So it's important for them to choose the right tool, Odoo, that's one of the tools, but also to choose the integrator. And so if editor, us, Odoo, we already select one of the partner, it's also reassure the customer that is the right integrator. So that's, I think, a very big benefit also for the customer. And then as we mentioned, so the final point we can say here is that we have experience with different partners, with our methodology, we are adapting also the things, and we can really gather the best practice. So learning from each other here, then we can implement the best for the customers. We know that each customer is different, each project is different, but having this experience and sharing this all together will be stronger together. So that should be the conclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, the questions?
Or maybe there's some questions in the tab. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pardon.
So some question here. One question is, what if there are multiple partners involved on the deal? How do we manage that in Odoo?
We had the case effectively with, for example, it was with Eezzee IT for another project that we have not present today. So at the beginning, they come to us and they say, okay, we have a project that maybe we can collaborate together. We say, yes, it is interesting. We have started the collaboration together, and after a couple of days, we have other partners who say, okay, I'm working on that deal also. So what we have done, we have said to this customer, okay, Odoo is going to provide, the functional reply to this RFQ, okay? And so we have sent the same functional reply to the 3 partners on this project. And after, for this project for the 3 partners, and these 3 partners, after they have, explained the way that they are going to implement the project, what are the phasing, they have put a price for the implementation, what was the added value of this partner, and at the end, it is one partner who has been selected. In that case, it was Eezzee, and so we have done the ROI together. But you see that it's totally feasible, and we give the same chance to every partner when there is a couple of partners involved on the same project.
Right, thank you, Luca. So there are a lot of questions, so maybe one interesting question here that was not mentioned, we don't have this information from this presentation, but maybe you can share that. So how many employees were involved from both parts from your project? I don't know if maybe Emeric, you want to answer for that?
Yes.
And what was the role also of each?
Yeah, during the gap analysis, we were like 2 persons from 2 business analysts from Odoo, and some project manager also. And on our side, we were like 3 consultants, 1 architect, and 2 PM, 2 project manager. So
and
we are quite
on the
a lot.
side, there were the 2 business analysts, but of course also some experts helping and others. So yeah, it's really a teamwork.
From Eezzee IT?
Yeah, so on the 2 phases, so if we take the pre-sales phase, also we had a PM and a business analyst from the side of Odoo. And from our side, we had a functional architect, a PM, and 2 business analysts to work on the pre-sales. Then for the project, we set up and we put the team in place here. In this case, because we worked with really a team of Odoo, Odoo had his team with project manager, business analyst, and developers, and we had ours for our side. So there we depending of the scope of the project, but there we have more people involved at that moment.
Maybe the last question for today, and then come to us for more if you have. It's more about technical point, about development. So how did you handle technical depth purely on partner technical teams, or do you foresee it being an issue in the future if some partner custom code gets in the future standard code of Odoo? How do you manage that?
So, and perhaps to complement to this question, how do we deal also when Odoo has to do some code and we do some code, and who is going to be the owner? So the decision we took is, because we were going to handle the project till the end, is that we were master of the code. So of course Odoo developers are going to do some developments, we are going to do our developments, but at the end it goes through our release process, and the release process is always going to our technical leader that is going to have a look at, is this code okay or not okay? If it's not okay, we prevent it to go to the staging, and we ask for rework of the code, of course.
And so what happens if the development code become in the future version?
Of course, that happens a lot, of course.
No.
And every time we do a migration, the first thing we do is to try to convince the client to come back to the standard, because since between two versions there is a lot of improvements. So always the way is to find the solution in standard for the client before migrating some code in the new version. We do that all the time with the client, yes.
Perfect. And for the other question, please come to us. We are here to answer that.
And also
Thank
on
you
the
very
pad,
much again.
one more thing, maybe on the pad we saw a lot of questions around the MMC methodology. So if you would like to get to know more about that, I invite you just to stay here in a few minutes. Victorine and Jeremy gonna discuss about that and share some tips and tricks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.